Nah. I'm an expert to author, turning words into impact. Pages to profits, yeah, we do it non-stop. Blue impressions, baby, we rise to the top. Expert to author, pages to profits. Blue impressions, watch us rock it. Expert to author, pages to profits. Blue impressions, yeah, we got it. Write it, own it, claim that win. Let the world see where you've been. Drop that story, make it spin. Blue impressions, let's begin. Delicious. Yeah. Say what? Say what? Let's go. Pages to profits. Blue impressions, baby, we hot. Turning your purpose into profit on the spot. Blue impressions, where your words makes impact.
Hey, y'all. Hey, welcome to the Pages to Profits podcast, where we turn stories into strategy and words into revenue. So I'm your host, Dr. Lena Payne Webb, and today this is the place where authors, coaches, and experts stop sitting on their brilliance and start building legacy, impact, and real income. So today we have the opportunity to have a real conversation with one of our very own, Shelly Moorman. Hey, Shelly, how are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me here.
Listen, thank you for being here. We know you have something to share with the people. So let's start with this. Tell them who you are and where you're from and who you serve.
Okay, so I am Shelly Moorman, and I am from a small county in Mercer, in Mercer, Ohio, and I teach safety awareness, and I am a safety advocate and a purpose-driven protector. I like to teach women and young women of how to live a purpose-driven life, to be aware of your surroundings and not to be afraid, because fear doesn't mean that you have to live in fear and to be afraid, because God tells us 365 times, don't fear, right? So we're to be strong, be our advocate for our safety and others that we love, and and share the message.
That is such a huge call. And let me ask you, how did you get to be in that space? What caused you to be like, I know this is what God called me to do, and this is what who I'm supposed to serve? What caused that? How did that happen?
Well, it's been a crazy journey because, I took CCW, I became a range safety officer, I've done all kinds of stuff, but that wasn't the purpose. And all those certificates and those trainings and those things in my background, they came when one day this girl said, "Why do you teach safety?" And she told me about her incident, but then it brought me back to my incident in high school where, as high school kids, you hang out at the park, you're having fun with your friends, and then it was time to go home. The ride necessarily didn't go straight home. A friend that I trusted, that I knew was an acquaintance, says, "Hey, I'll give you a ride home." So I said, "Okay, sure." And everybody else left, we left, and the ride didn't go straight home. It went on a detour. So in that detour, that's where I didn't use my voice. I was young. I didn't know that, what to do. But then over time, it's just like we have a voice. We need to be our own advocate. We need to say no when no means no. And all I knew at that point in time, I wanted to go home. So long story short, ended up going home. You can imagine in between. But anyhow, that didn't define me. But yet it gave me the courage that when people would come to me with stories and things, I wanted to do more. How could I help you more? And then when I was teaching shooting, some didn't want to shoot a gun. That's fine. Let's not do any shooting if you're not ready to do that, but let's find a way. So then that gave me the purpose to become an Alice instructor and learn different things. What can we do? As simple as a Kubotan, using a Sharpie, using an air horn, doing simple things. How can we keep our house safe? So then that way we're not a target. What are the things that we can do? And it doesn't cost a lot of money, and there's plenty of things that you can do to build your awareness. So that's what drove me to write the book and to be about putting together programs and teaching others. Hey, come listen and go away knowing more.
Wow. So I know that is such a needed space.
Mhm.
Most people, men and women, have
Yes.
experienced something, a moment where they didn't use their voice, right, in one way or another. So that I know that that is valuable, very valuable. So let me ask you, so I know you started doing these safety advocate stuff, teaching other people, but take us to the moment when you realized that your own experience had value to share with other people and decided to put it actually in the book.
Well, when I talked to my husband that night, when he first heard my story and he understood how, wow, he's a really kind guy. He couldn't believe that things like that would happen and after he heard that little girl's story and he goes, "What could we do?" I go, "We have to do something." And we do teach kids throughout the years and retreats and different things. And so we teach them how to, your safety awareness, how to punch on Bob, this dummy that we have, and things, and to build their strength and their mindset, and so they don't have to be a victim and they don't have to be afraid, and how to help build their families to also participate with a safe word, making a safe environment. So when that came along, it was just like, I need to do more. There's too many out there. Too many ladies bring stories to me that they've had happen, and they just say, "Wow, if I only knew." So it's with that "wow, if I only knew" that I did the book, and that the book had to be done and
Yeah,
stuff. And it was just amazing with your talent and your team, how the words just flowed out. It was like my classes were just all written in the book,
yeah,
so it gave a relief knowing that, wow, here's my voice. It gave me a bigger voice because now everything that I wanted to share is validified in the book.
yeah,
It's there and
yeah.
stuff, and I could show and I could share and I could, and stuff. And so along with stories that, have happened to other people, just to bring that awareness, bring that thought process, building that mindset. That's all it is. It's just building a mindset and stuff for safety and awareness.
Good. That is so important. So let's talk about the book. I know in the book you have a framework,
Hmm.
right, in the book. So tell them about that, because we had the privilege to be part of your process, right? So tell them about the framework that you have developed and put in this book.
Yeah, the really neat thing about the framework and how the book was written is being able to put it out on paper, but with paper with purpose, right? And the framework word itself is fearless, right? So the F, what do you fear, right? And then E, educate yourself. What can you do to educate yourself, And then A, awareness, and then it goes down to, through the whole thing. But the book is just so, I was surprised. It's like, I wrote that, how did that come out? But it just takes people through, and it's just like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? But at the end of each chapter, it gives you a part to reflect, and it brings you back. How can you, out of this chapter, what can you apply to your life today?
Yeah.
How can you share this with your sisters, your mother, your aunts? How can you share this with other people? How can you build your own community of safety and awareness, whether you're in college or you're working or you're a senior citizen who travels? How can you build your ecosystem also, So it's just, it's not just us. It's us to share a message with other people.
That's good. That's good. That is so true. That is so true. And we realize that, especially in the space that we're in, helping people share their voices and their expertise and their experiences, that they're not for us to hold on to, right? They're for
Right.
other people, so that,
Yes.
that they know that they too can get through this, or that they too have an experience that can help somebody else. And what better way to do that than form of written word, right?
Right.
A published asset that you can then use to reach people. So I know the power of that is so impactful. So
Yeah.
let's talk about, so we know you have the don't be a target. So we have the don't be a target, which is full of all the things to help people to be more safety conscious in more ways than one. But you also have another one. So let's talk about that briefly, because we cannot let don't guys not be complicated sit in the background, because we see it on the
Yes.
screen.
You see it
So
on the screen.
and we see it on the screen. So let's
Yeah.
talk about that briefly for a minute. Tell the people about that and what it's about.
Yeah, that one there is because in 2018, I got saved when I was like 23 years old, 23, 25, way back when. and in
It wasn't that long
2018.
ago. We ain't got to fool. It
Yeah.
wasn't that long ago.
Yeah. But it's just like I had a relationship with God, but it's just like, okay, Lord, here I am today, whatever, and stuff. It just didn't connect. And then one day I heard this guy talk about kingdom. It's not religion, it's not tradition, it's the relationship of kingdom with God. And boom, the light went off, and my whole relationship with God changed so much, and I grew so much. The love for the Bible and His Word and the stories, instead of the begots, it came alive. You heard about Jehoshaphat, you heard about Deborah, you heard about Gideon, and all these stories that how we could apply to our life. Because back in 2018, my husband and I were like, how do we survive today? How does the Bible apply to today? And so when that door opened up, when God opened that up and He revealed that, it's like when I wrote "Don't Be a Target," some people were asking me, "Well, what about the yellow book?" I'm like, "Yellow book," and it was like from the website, "Be like a bumblebee," and then I'm like, how do I write this book? But then it all came together because yet that has a framework of kingdom, and then I kind of share the story of how there's instances in my life that the devil tried to win, but God said, no, not today, saying it ain't happening. But then just sharing how even in our own lives, to our relationships with our children and our relationships in our world, sometimes we have to go back and we just have to say, Holy Ghost, help me to apologize and to clear up in my mind and the things that I need to apologize for. And there was a little girl who I remember at 6 years old, I punched her in the park because she wanted my dad to push her on the swings, and that was my dad. I mean, it's as simple as that. But I had to go back and release those, and I swear the relationship with my daughter has been tremendous. And that's what I try to tell people. We build our relationship with a father, our heavenly father, who wants a relationship. He wants to dine with you. He wants to spend time with you. He wants to be in conversation with you, and he's not complicated. And then when we clear up our relationship with him, and then we build our relationship with our family and those who we love, it just gets so much better. So my life has totally turned around, but it's been a process. So that's where God's not complicated. And even with, don't be a target. God is so intertwined and interfilled in each chapter, in each section, because He teaches us to be courageous. He teaches us to be strong, and stuff. So I just love how God is in it because He's everything. He's our center. So
That's good. I love that. I love that. So let's talk about fast forward. You have the Don't Be a Target, and you publish that. You have it, and I know today you use that to do some amazing things. I know you speak in different places. You do conferences. You've been somewhere everywhere. Award nominations, all types of things. So tell us about how you use Don't Be a Target and what you do today to help people. Like, how has it been a tool for you?
well, actually, I've even done a Bible study, a Zoom Bible study with it. And at first we're like, okay, how is this going to work? But what God reveals, it's just amazing. And maybe someone said, I had an incident 15 years ago. Well, things happen still yet today, and stuff. But you're building that mindset, and don't be a target. It has a workbook behind it. So again, it takes you back to reflection. So it's just not a book. I've had so many people who say, oh my gosh, Shelly, I couldn't put your book down. And you could finish reading it in 3 hours, I mean, if you want to flash through it or whatever. But I have people just like, oh my gosh, once I started reading it, I couldn't stop,
Mhm.
and I'm just so humbled by that, that they listen to my words and they get the message, because even one part in there, a friend of mine goes, I do that when I go to a restaurant. I look for the exits and I watch the people, and that's just a simple tool. So, for to be safe in your surroundings. But, it's just don't be a target can be used for so many things. Like I have a kids retreat that I'm doing in the next couple of weekends. And, again, I'll take those stories and those things and adjust it to their age level and to help implement the tool for them and their family and then I have another event coming up that I will implement that tool, so it's nice to where they can have it in their hands because when you go somewhere and you get all this information and it's just like overload, but then when you get to take it with you, you have it with you and you can write your notes and you can say, oh yeah, I remember her saying that, because I wanted to, add that to my life. So yeah.
That's amazing. That is so good. So let me ask you. So I know when you wrote the book, it was written intentionally. We made sure that it was written in a way that it would be used in such a way as that, right? Where you can use it at
Yes.
different workshops, different
Yes.
retreats, different all the things that you want to do. So it's good to hear that you're able to actually put it into place because it was intentionally made that way when we wrote it. So we were glad that you had a vision in mind. And so when we wrote it, we started with that at the forefront.
Yeah.
And that's one of the key things that we do when we work with people like yourself, like coaches and consultants. We get the vision from you first, right? And then we plan kind of backwards from
It,
that.
it was amazing how you guys helped do that because I mean, I'm like chasing squirrels. I got all kinds of ideas and like I said, I'm trained in many different things, right? Archery and which has its own 10 steps. And I was, trained in shooting and range safety officer and all these different things because it kind of all went together. But then I've also been trained in other things for safety certifications and things like that to teach awareness. But you helped me instead of chasing all these squirrels everywhere, you helped hone in and said, "Here's your message." And
Yeah.
if anyone wants to write a book, they need to get a hold of you. They need to follow your steps and just
Oh,
be there with you because you're so patient, you're so kind, and you hold us through it. Now you're not going to do it for us, but you hold us through it and say, "Hey, this,"
yeah.
and you put us back on track. So, and once I got the book, it was like, that's my story. That made such a difference because I was all over the place. If
Yeah.
someone asked me, "What do you do?" Wow, where do I start? But now I could say I'm an author of Don't Be a Target, and here's all the certifications, here's all the training I've had, and here's how I could help you. And
Yeah.
here's a message you need, And that made such a difference because now I'm not all over the place, I know what I
Well,
need
you
to
know
do.
what the one of the things with what you do is like so needed, like for
Yeah.
women, men, kids, like we all have to be aware, like aware in all the different types of environments. And you address all of those things from online safety to
Yes.
holiday safety to just all the different things you tackle all of that. So
Yeah.
and it doesn't have a race, it doesn't have an age, it doesn't have a gender, it doesn't have any of that. And then on top of that, it's Jesus all the way through it, right? So
Yes. Yes.
we love being able to intertwine the essence of who you are and who you're called to serve all
Yeah.
together, and make it something that's relatable to your audience. So we're grateful for that, but we're even more so grateful to know that it's actually working, right? To actually
Yeah.
know that it's reaching the people, that people are resonating with it, to the point that you're speaking and that you're hosting these conferences and workshops.
Yeah.
Tell us not date specific about the conferences, about your masterclasses, because I know you do something there monthly, right? So tell them what they would find.
So I try on the second Wednesday of every month to put on a Zoom masterclass, and usually it's generally about 8 p.m. on Wednesday nights. And what it is, it just kind of goes over each of the different steps in safety, just the awareness first, why we need it, and then what we need to be aware about, and stuff. And so each month I want to do like a different theme, but sticking to the same thing. It's safety awareness. It's building that mindset. It's being a purpose-driven protector, It's being an advocate for safety and stuff. So, and putting that together, then when going out there to other places that I've spoke, and it's just turning the light bulb on for people, because not everybody thinks about that. They're either on their phone or how do you approach an elevator and you don't feel safe going in. We tend to put ourselves aside because we don't want to make anyone else feel uncomfortable. So you have to build that mindset to say my safety first. If I feel uncomfortable, then no, I don't need to put myself in a position to where I'm going to feel unsafe or uncomfortable because I don't want to hurt that person's feelings, So and we have to give ourselves permission because we're always told to be good little girls, good little boys, don't say nothing, just behave. But sometimes you have to say, no, stop, I'm okay. I don't know you. I'm all right. Go on your way, and it's not rude. It's speaking up for yourself. So but yes, I got nominated to go to a ball in DC for my book. So I'm really excited about that because it's like, wow, it's taking it outside of my backyard,
Yeah.
so to
Yeah.
speak, and then the conferences, being able to speak with other women, it's just amazing,
Yeah. And expands your reach, right? So,
absolutely.
and
I
most people
mean,
think I'm gonna write this book, but then they don't know what's gonna happen next. But for
right.
you, right, you knew what was gonna happen next. You knew the
Yes,
strategy, you had a strategy in place. So that
absolutely.
is huge. So for those watching and listening, you heard her every month she holds this masterclass. And it's free. Tell them where they can find the information for the masterclass.
It is free. And just really quick, my book already made it all the way to Hong Kong. So it's out of the country. So
It is
yeah,
international. She is
it's
already
international.
international. We
Yes.
love it. We love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
So,
Love it.
but anyhow, you can find me at www.don'tbeatarget.com. And you can go there. You can, there's a little bumpy, little button that jumps around. It says events. Go ahead and click on that. And all you have to do is put your last name, your email, your phone number, and click a few little dots, and then it'll send you a confirmation that you have your ticket, and then we'll email you the day before and the day of for reminders and stuff. So yeah, come on out, come see me. If you need to, go ahead and tell your sisters, tell your mom, tell everybody. It is something that we all need to hear and know
Yeah.
and grow because we are in a crazy world right now. But you know what? They're looking for those who don't respond.
Yeah.
But if you respond, they're going to say, you know what? I don't know what she knows. She just may be a little too much.
Yeah.
They want
Yeah.
an easy target. You ain't going to be that easy
You're not gonna be
target.
the easy target.
Yeah.
Good deal. Good deal.
So yeah,
So Shelly, so I know you have this unique opportunity, right? So when people purchase your book, you have this community. Tell them about that because I find that's impactful. So it's like, okay, you got the book, but what's next? What's beyond that? Like, so you
absolutely.
have something for them. So tell them what happens when they buy the book.
Absolutely. Because what I wanted to put together was a Facebook group, and it's called Chosen, Covered, and Courageous. So not only are you going to buy the book and you're going to be by yourself, if you have questions, if you want encouragement, if there's just things that, we're going to grow to our better selves for the future. We're not bashing, we're not staying in a victim state or anything like that. We are growing into improvement and to better ourselves. So, and sometimes we just need people who understand. So that's what this is. I'm not a therapist. I'm an author. I'm a mom, and so I'm not certified in any of that stuff. I'm certified in other stuff. But if you need, just that support and that ecosystem of just being around other people who understand and you want to become better and grow and not be stuck, that's what this chosen, covered, and courageous. It's women only, so there will be no men in there, and in that we could respect one another and respect our space, respect our answers, and encourage one another. As sisters, encourage one another. That's what it's for. And so I'm really excited because I'll have things posted in there for just encouragement and things like that. And then we'll probably do some lives and that so then we
Yeah.
can get to know each other, talk, encourage, and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah, I love that. I love that you have the book as the thing to help them, but it's like, okay,
yes,
I don't want to just leave you hanging. Here's a community of other people,
absolutely.
and and everybody has the book, right? So it's like
Everybody
a
will have
tool
the
that you're
book. Yes,
using in the community. So it's like, okay, you have the book now. Come and meet your people, right?
yes,
It's more
yes.
of us, right? So, and
Right.
we know one thing: we know that there's strength in numbers. We know that
Yeah,
there's
absolutely,
strength in numbers. So
absolutely.
I'm so grateful that you have that space. So tell the people where they can find you, your website, tell them the website, and yeah, what is next for you?
Okay, so yes, and just to go back over for Chosen, Covered, and Courageous, you do need the book. There will be a couple of questions, and it will ask you, what's your favorite chapter of the book or what part. So we can understand that we're all on the same page. We're all understanding the same thing. So to get that book, you go to www.don'tbeatarget.com, and it's $24.99. in that it'll take you to the link. It's real simple. You just throw it on your credit card. As soon as I get that, I will mail it out to you. I mail it to you. So
That is good
we're
tip.
a top-notch business here.
That's right. That's
I will
right.
mail it to you, and I'll sign it if you want it signed and stuff. So it's personable in that. But yeah, so basically at my website, but then I also have Don't Be a Target on Facebook. It's a Facebook page. It has daily things in there. You get to see Shelly's AI, which is really cool. So she has a message that comes on and stuff, and you'll see me, the true me too, at time to time and stuff. And I'll say it's me. But yeah, it's just it's a place to be encouraged. It's a place to build your mindset. It's a place to help you help others, because in our work surroundings, look at what's happened in the churches lately. How do you respond? How do you prepare yourself in those situations? And a lot of women, they're kind of scared, like, do I take my kids to church? What could we do? So in this chosen, covered, and courageous, we will, cover things like that and stuff. So yeah, I hope you guys come on over, and I hope you find value in it, because I think it's going to be really great. Because like Dr. Lena said, it's not just a book. Here, read the book. It's a book that keeps on going and it grows, so.
I love it. All right. Well, family, you heard it here. Go to don'tbeatarget.com, don'tbeatarget.com. Connect with Shelly. She has some amazing things going on with the community, with the book. You don't have to be part of the community if you don't want to. And it's a free community, but so why not? If the book resonates with you, you definitely probably want to plug in there for sure. But go ahead, get the book. Connect with her. Even if you don't get the book, go to her website, sign up, find out what she's doing next, find out where you can assist at. Maybe you have something, maybe you work with women and you need someone to come in and educate them on being safe or her area of expertise. Connect with her there. So don'tbeatarget.com. Shelly, it has been a true delight to have you on the Pages of Profits podcast.
Yes, and I do travel.
Yeah, and she does travel. She does travel. Yes, she does travel.
I'll be in California in March, and as soon as I get that up, I will put it on the events tab.
Yeah, so go ahead and if you sign up on our website, then you'll get the updates of all the amazing things that she does, because this will be live well past the recording date of where we are now. So we, just make sure you plug in so you can stay up to date on all the amazing things that she has coming up. So we want to thank you all for tuning in today to the Pages of Profit podcast. So if today's conversation spoke to you, it's your sign, right? It is your sign that your story matters, that your expertise has value, and that your pages can create profit for you and for others to come. So until next time, remember this: you don't just write a book, you build a movement. And I'm Dr. Lena Payton Webb, and we will see you next time on the next episode of the Pages to Profits podcast.
Thank you.